Oh man, it is good to be here at the DPC Summit. I got to tell you, it is an honor to be giving this talk. It's been given every year, kind of a motivational end of conference talk to get you guys going out on a high note. And so they said, oh, why don't you guys, they asked me to come do it. I said, man, stand on the shoulders of giants who've done this before. So I got this clicker I'm going to try to use. Disclaimer stuff. I should probably exercise more. Because that was really just a fast walk. And it was only like 200 feet. So I don't have anything to disclose. I wish I did, because there's a lot of stuff I need. So if anybody's got anything they want me to sell for them, just let me know. Oh yeah, we got to do this thing. So this is a test question, because I never have my phone out in time, and I never get to participate. So this is a test question. So you guys get your phones out, and once you've had them out, they'll get the thing set up so you can answer this first question. When I think about PAs, CMNs, so on and so forth, I consider A, quitting my job, starting a DPC practice. By the way, I really do a lot of this pacing, and I don't know why. Probably because the side view is better. So. B, quitting medicine and becoming a roadkill removal technician. C, gouging out my eyes with a rusty Tabasco sauce-covered fork that I found in a sewer drain and refusing antibiotics afterward. D, all of the above. Or E, I love that stuff, as well as unproven quality metrics. And I agree with my administrator that they are a valuable part of caring for my patients whom I never see because I'm filling them out. All right, so if you have enough time, you guys can put on the voting, see what we come up with here for our test deal. Oh, I gotta click this? Okay. Oh, that's cool. Man, we live in the future, y'all. 28, 40, hey, we're getting some good numbers here, you guys. 73, a lot of people think D is a good answer. The clowns on E, I know who the four of you are. And I do expect lots of trolling on the response questions later. All right, so now we're going to do a real one. You've seen this question before. I've seen about 50%, but I'd like to know where you are. Are you practicing, you want to do it, or you're curious about it, or you're just here as a student? Hey, while I'm on it, if you guys haven't donated, donate some money so we can get more students here, because they're our future. All that stuff is true. And I want to have a shout out to two students that came with me. I teach a lot. Nate, where you at? You're back there somewhere. Nate, back there. Thank you for being here. Preston, are you here? Where's my second year? I got a third and a second. I don't think Preston's here. Man, you don't come to your attending's address at the end of the conference. Man, what kind of grade do you expect to get? All right, so let's vote on this one. This is just mainly so I can get to know you. Then I'll let you get to know me in a second. So 60, okay, we're doing well here. Look at all that, 80, 90. Okay, so we've got a good mix here, and a lot of people here to learn about this. So hopefully there's something here for everybody. This is, basically kind of a motivational talk. So let me give you, now that I know who you are, let's see who I am. As the doctor probably told you, my name is Lassey, and I am a motivational speaker. Now, let's get started by letting me give you a little bit of scenario of what my life is all about. First off, I am 43 years old. I am a DP physician, and I live in a van down by the river. Now, that's actually, I live in a barn down by a pond, but it's not that different. And my awesome kids who are here may act out, and people are like, were you raised in a barn? And they're like, yep. So how did I get here? The same way that you all did. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to sell you guys on DPC, because A, if you needed that, you probably wouldn't be. If you didn't need that, you wouldn't be here. C, that's what's been taught, whatever letter I'm on. You've been hearing a lot of reasons to do what we do. So I got here the same way. And I do want to give you a little bit about me. So I was in the system for 9 years. I got out of residency, went to a small town called Holton, Kansas, where I'm still at today. I worked at the hospital there for 9 years. I did full spectrum care, including inpatient, outpatient, ER, OB, hospice, lots of stuff. It was very busy, and I worked like crazy, and I ran into all the same headaches that have pushed us out. And I found, that's not what I'm here to do, is tell you about why DPC is awesome or why the other was bad, but I will tell you that I'm one of those people who had a calling to do this. I really love what I do, and I was called to it from a very young age. And I think it is really sad. If you ever meet anybody who's called to something, who's good at it, it's kind of a cool thing, because all these kids coming out of college have no idea what they want to do, and they have $200,000 of debt, and so it's nice to have a calling, and you see someone who's really called to do something. It's a neat thing, and then you watch a system like the one that we were stuck in make you hate it. That is a crying, stinking shame. And that's what's happening in all kinds of places. But I didn't enjoy going to work, in the morning. I wasn't a good father. I wasn't a good husband. I was probably not a good doctor. I was forced to go too fast and refer things I was perfectly capable of doing myself if only I had the time. You guys know this story. So that's how I got here. And it's this kind of stuff. This is that slide from the Alliance's, like, hey, you should look into direct primary care. And the front of it on this little note card has like the swamp, like this underground mess of stuff that we were in. Unsatisfied patients, CPT, paperwork, coding, MIPS, CMS, MACRA, whatever, right? That's what we're getting away from. Okay, this video is awesome. Hopefully it'll play. It's only 6 seconds long. Right before we switched to computer to EHR, whenever I worked at the hospital, this was at the end of my day. I'm like, hey, I'm going to try to see if there's an app that can do time-lapse photography. So I downloaded one real quick, and I made this, if it'll play. I hit the green button. Let's try it again. There we go. Yeah. So this is how you do all your charts. It ends up being taller than you, even when you're 6'7". Yeah. So I had another one I made one time when I had even more charts than that, but I couldn't find it. And that one is cool because I had like a 44-ounce Diet Mountain Dew, and you can watch it just go like this. Because I spent like an hour standing there going through charts. Anyway, okay, so that kind of stuff is how I got here. Here's one of the straws that breaks the camel's back, and it gives you an idea of how quickly I had hit that point. If you look at, this is a real letter that I typed to an insurance company in October of 2008. They wanted, a certificate of medical necessity, which is like a piece of paper that I write them that says, hey, that order that I gave you already is medically necessary. Okay, and so I wrote this letter. I'm like, well, if I am a doctor, which I am, then doesn't the fact that I ordered it make it necessary? So anyway, it's a really long, wordy letter, but I basically said this makes things worse. And I said, you may be able to draw the conclusion that increasing medical costs is bad, and that makes your business practices a part of the problem. And then in the end, I said, so this letter is a CEPN, Certificate of Excessive Paperwork Necessity. Send this to whoever you have to at work until I can get a letter within 60 days that says why this is necessary. Otherwise, notice, if you fail to return this information within 60 days, I cannot continue having any kind of faith in managed care, will likely go to cash-only practice like so many of my frustrated colleagues. Be part of the solution. Okay, right. Thank you. I thought it was very hilarious and very clever, and they never sent me anything. But that's 2008. I'd only been in practice for a year. And DPC didn't have a name yet. It was things were happening, and I knew I was heading that way. But anyway, so what's the next slide here? Oh yeah, so again, I don't know that I have a whole lot of work to do to sell DPC to you, but I do have this one thing I want to share this story. So this guy's name is Sean Kelly. He is of all things, I'm teaching a positive point about direct primary care by showing you a hospital administrator. But they're not all bad, I guess. I was introduced to him at the Free Market Medical Association meeting where I was invited to a couple years ago in Oklahoma City, and this guy just got done giving a talk. His brother's a really well-known surgeon, and he's a business guy, and they went together to form this little free market surgery center down in Austin. And I was saying something disruptive at a table, and somebody said I should be introduced to this guy. So anyway, someone introduced me to this guy in the hallway. And, he's kind of a little guy, compared to me or something. And so he comes up to me in the hallway, and or the other guy does, and says, this is Sean. And then he says, this is Dr. Lassey. So I said, yeah, hey, nice to meet you. And he's like, what do you do? I said, well, I'm a direct primary care doctor up in Northeast Kansas. And he goes, oh, yeah, of course you are. I don't know this guy. I've never seen this guy in my life. And he's like, oh, yeah, of course you are. So I was like, okay, wait a minute here, dude. And so I kind of said, I got to tell you, that's kind of an unorthodox answer. What do you mean by that? And he goes, oh, yeah, sorry. You guys are the ones who are always smiling. Yeah. And he was serious. And because at the FMMA meeting, there's lots of people that do like free market or whatever. There's not a lot of DPC docs there, so there's a lot of everybody there. But the ones who all have a smile on their face are the DPC docs. You come to this conference, first time attendees of a DPC conference of any kind. Anybody? First time, yeah. So if you've been to thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. You go to other conferences, it's like the land of the dead, and like nephrologists gone wild. So, so anyway, I've got a friend who's a nephrologist. He'll totally hate that joke. We're the ones who are always smiling. It's very true. And in fact, one of the vendors mentioned that to me when I was talking yesterday. He's like, man, everybody at this conference is so happy. I'm like, yup. I haven't filled out a CMN in 4 years, dude. All right. So again, I'm not here to sell you a DPC. It sells itself. I don't think it's hard for anyone to envision a worthwhile goal for themselves. For instance, I can envision me not eating cookies and losing weight. But I eat a lot of cookies anyway because they're delicious. And so I need that. I need some kind of kick in the pants to give me that incentive to take that leap of faith and stop making cookies all the time. And I think that's my job today, is to try to help you guys go, all right, yeah, it's worth it, but just do it, right? Like that, what's the name of that guy, that actor with the video? Do it, that guy. Like, that's my job. So I'm going to try my best. So my good friend Jeff Gold calls this a leap of truth. Same thing. So Dr. King said, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. I think that's true. So maybe you just need people who've been on the staircase to tell you it's okay. Come on. And maybe that's what I'm doing today. So how am I going to do that? So it's funny that there's all these like self-help conferences on both sides of our conference. And I'm like, man, all these like people who do this for a living around me. I'm like, man, I'm kind of a lot of pressure. But so how am I because motivational speech, I could tell you, rename it from DPC to like quit smoking or something and give the same talk. So I'm like, well, how do I make this a DPC talk? So well, what am I good at? What do I have strengths in? And what I have strengths in is literature. A lot of people don't know that I enjoy a lot of literature, particularly children's literature with pictures. And so the thing about being big and dumb is true. Some stereotypes are based in fact, and so just give me some illustrations, So I thought I would probably use this great book, The Puppy Who Lost His Way. But if I found out that another speaker used it in an academic decathlon to draw conclusions about the Industrial Revolution and ended up winning the decathlon, I just didn't want to steal that guy's thunder on The Puppy Who Lost His Way. So I decided to do the carrot seed. Now, I was talking to my friend Shane. Shane, you still back there somewhere? I can't see. I'm blinded. There he is. Last year. And so my son, who's here today, whenever he was a little guy, and he was like 2 or something, and we would read to him every night, and he always wanted us to read 2 books. You know that really, really lousy book called Goodnight Moon? Gosh dang. Man, you read that one too many times, and you just lose it. Kids love that book, man. And so every night he would say, carrot seed and moon, carrot seed and moon. And getting the books out was a formality because, of course, we've memorized them from reading them so many times. So I knew this book really well, and Shane and I were talking with somebody who was interested in direct care and trying to get, the courage to overcome all the naysayers and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, somehow this book just came to me, and I quoted the entire book because, like I said, I've read it 10,000 times. And I said, if I had done, hey, man, Luke, if you had just wanted like me to read, I don't know, Harrison's Guide to Internal Medicine every night, I would be a much smarter doctor because I would have memorized that book by now. But instead, carrot seed is what I know. So I quoted this to Shane and the person we were talking to. And I realized that's pretty motivational. And if I ever get an opportunity to give a DPC motivational speech, I'm going to read the carrot seed to a gigantic room full of doctors. So, again, it's a formality even having the book because it's memorized, but here we go. A little boy planted a carrot seed, said, "This is my kind of literature." Now, I'm actually going to stop right there because we've got to talk about this slide. So, I don't know about you, but I have a little boy, and that is not what he does. Right? What do? They play Fortnite and whatever, maybe a little baseball and stuff like that. And so we're going to talk about that because planting carrots is not what the other boys do. All the other boys are playing Fortnite or baseball or basketball, hopefully, and that kind of stuff. And but this kid's like, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to plant a carrot seed. I don't really care what the rest of you boys are doing. Now, I'm reading that into the book because the book does not specify his colleagues' activities. But I'm telling you that they are not planting carrots. That's just his thing. And so let's talk about why he's doing that. Because he's definitely doing something that most of us don't do. Because we're humans, and humans have a lot of stuff in common. And one of those things is that we are uncomfortable going against the behavior of others. Few will do it. And so we're going to take a little break here, and we're going to watch this awesome video on social conformity. So let's see if we can get this to play.
To answer that question, we set up a hidden camera experiment to see if this woman would stand up at the sound of this tone, simply because everyone else is. You might be thinking you'd never go along with this. Or would you? After just 3 beeps, and without knowing why she's doing it, this woman is now conforming perfectly to the group. But what happens if we take the group away?
Elaine, please.
Okay, now she's alone. The crowd is gone and nobody is watching her except our hidden cameras. What do you think she'll do? She's now conforming to the rules of the group without them even being there. Now, watch what happens when we introduce another outsider who doesn't know the rules.
For a noon appointment. Have a seat and they'll be out in just a couple minutes. Great, thanks so much.
Everybody was doing it, so I thought I was supposed to.
Think she'll teach the new guy what to do? We kept the cameras rolling as more unsuspecting patients arrived. And slowly but surely, what began as a random rule for this woman has now become the social norm for everyone in this waiting room. Here to explain what's going on in their brains is Jonah Berger of the University of Pennsylvania.
This sort of internalized form of herd behavior is part of what we call social learning. Starting at a very early age, when we see members of our group perform a task, our brains literally reward us for following in their footsteps.
When I saw everybody stand up, I felt like I needed to join them. Otherwise, I'm like excluded. Once I decided to go with it, then I felt much more comfortable.
Conformity is how we become socialized, but it can also cause us to develop bad habits or repeat past wrongs.
And it's why even this rebel, who wasn't standing for any of this nonsense, eventually joined the ranks.
So I love that all my medical students because what you see right there is what's happening so much in medicine. Like, we don't know any other way. Let's just get inside this hamster wheel and start making money for a bunch of corrupt jerks, okay? Like, that's what we do. And so, right? Thank you. So, but just because that's the way everyone else does it, or because it's the way it's always been done, doesn't make it not stupid. And so it's time to look at that as is that actually a little, like, tiny picture of what much bigger things that are actually happening? And I would suggest that it is. But here's the thing. It can go from just being something silly, like people in the waiting room standing up, to actually being dangerous. This is a great study. I'm not showing you the video, but in this study, they had this place where you could, go for a job interview. And so basically you walk into this room and sit down and fill out some paperwork. And when one person would come into the room, just one, then they would set off the fire alarm and start pushing smoke underneath the door in the corner, right? And then whoever's filling out the paperwork is like, holy, cow. And they just put down their paper and just head out the door. Like, one of them even left her bag and stuff. It's like, whoa, there's a fire. They're out of here. Because that's what you do whenever the building you're in is on fire. But whenever you take and put 7 or 8 other people in there who are part of the experiment, who will not get up whenever the fire starts, it's insane. See that 2010 in the right-hand corner? One person sat there for 20 minutes while the building, as far as she knew, was on fire, and she didn't get up and leave just because the other people wouldn't. So you'll do it even if it's dangerous to you or other people. Conformity is not something that we only do when it's not important. The point is, it can be very important, and what we're doing is wasting all of everyone's money and giving them crappy medical care, because that's what you're supposed to do, right? So that's what we're trying to change here. One more video. I'm not going to show a video, just a quick picture. So I don't know if y'all have seen this. This has got several million views on YouTube. So this dude on the left has this experiment set up where he goes around on the street corner, and look, his left hand, he's got a big old stack of Hershey bars. In his right hand, he's got a 10-ounce bar of solid silver bullion. I actually looked it up. That's worth about $150. And so he offers just strangers on the street. He's like, hey, it's your lucky day. I'm giving away free bars. You can have a bar of silver or a chocolate bar. Fresh out of the cooler, nice and cold. It's a hot day. Which one you want? And over and over and over and over, everyone takes the chocolate bar. And if you look at one of the last slides in the video, a screen cap I took, as you notice, he's down to his last Hershey's bar. And if you look, he has 10 in this picture. Now he's down to his last one. Nobody took the silver. At one time, he was right across the street from one of those places where you can buy and sell gold and silver. And they're like, well, I don't even know if it's real. I don't know what to do with silver. He's like, we can go in there and find out. No, I know what chocolate is. I'll take that. And I'm telling you, over and over and over, all these people just took the chocolate bar. And I guess there's something to that. Like, how many times do people just walk up and offer you $150 worth of anything? No. And maybe they'll offer you a chocolate bar. It's not worth that much. There's some reasons that it might be done. But the bottom line is, we like to do what we know. We do what's comfortable. We do what other people do. And this little kid in the carrot seed is not like that. And we've always done it this way. I like the motivational one where he says, just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean it's not incredibly stupid, right? And so this is one of those things where it's all about perspective. We call this event what? The running of the bulls. But that's just from our perspective. What it is called from the bulls' perspective is called the goring of the idiots. All right. So DPC does require a leap of faith. The little boy took it for his planting of his carrots. You have to dare to be different. You have to take the step, and you have to prepare to sacrifice. And sacrifice is very important. And I'm going to tell you the story of Kissy Blackwell. I asked a lot of DPC docs a lot of questions in preparations for this talk. I was going to kind of put together a whole lot of stories of sacrifice and stuff like that. And in the end, hers was so darn good that I just decided I was just going to do the Kissy Blackwell show today. I met her whenever she was at the 2016 Summit, and it was sad. I mean, she was a broken woman by a system that was abusing her. I mean, it was abuse. And I just said, I'm like, you got to fight back. And you got to see what I did. I mean, it was amazing what she has done. Everybody knows her. I mean, she's a rock star. And so this is the beginning of what she told me. I went to my first DPC Summit in 2016. The next day, I sold my Escalade and bought a Buick. My husband went from an Infiniti to a Hyundai, and I moonlighted every Saturday for a year in urgent care. This is to be continued. And that's the picture of her saying goodbye to her very beloved SUV. This is Julie Gunther's former house. She sold that so she could start a DPC because there's sacrifice involved. What's really cool about Julie is that she really embraces my sort of Matt Foley thing. And this is where she moved her family. She really, I mean, Keep overhead down, yo. So it is a freedom that is not free. So this slide shows some of the things that you lose. Free time, you're busy, you might be moonlighting doing some things, you can lose time to exercise, your health might go down a little bit, you have less time for things you enjoy like hobbies, family time. Relationships suffer whenever you lose. When you leave, your colleagues can take it pretty bad. They get death row syndrome. A lot of them won't want to talk to you. They won't take call for you or let you take call with them. A lot of your patients, they don't get it. They don't understand. And they think, that you're doing it for money or something. They don't know. And you ever get that thing where you're standing in front of a whole lot of people and you're like, is my fly down? Whew, I'm good. I don't know why I got that just now. Stuff. So like vehicles, right? Home, property, certainty. This is something that you lose. Certainty. You lose the certainty of income. You have a nice steady paycheck, right? You lose the good company. You might start this business and it might be just you, at least for a while you ramp up or whatever. And in that way, you also sometimes lose safety if it's just you, a place all by yourself. So there's lots of things to consider that aren't free. The reason this doesn't have the normal slide background is because you're looking at my sacrifice. That was my land. That was what I worked all those years to buy, and I sold it. And it's just stuff, man. It's just stuff. So what has the little boy taught us so far? Don't be afraid to resist the status quo. If it doesn't make sense, don't do something simply because it's always been done that way. And the first step of faith must be followed by sacrifice. All right, so let's get back to our story here. And is this noise something I'm doing? Okay, I'll hold still or something. Good luck with that. A little boy planted a carrot seed. We saw that. Okay, his mom said, I'm afraid it won't come up. Well, let's talk to Dad. Father said, I'm afraid it won't come up. And his big brother said, it won't come up. So let's go ahead and stop right there. And let's just go ahead and admit that this guy's family is rude. And hopefully when I read this story to my son, he did not take from it, hey, this is how you treat your brother or whatever. Okay, ignore critics and follow your vision is the point here. The four loudest DPC critics are the ignorant, the jealous, the corrupt, and the hypocritical. I think I'm going to come back and talk about this a little bit more. But people can be really, really mean whenever you decide to do this. I was talking to Jen Heriter, who is one of my heroes and a neighbor. And just down the road, we help each other out when we can. And on her last day working on the inside as she left, some doctor with no social skills came up to her and said, Jen, are you still in here? Hey, what'd she say? What'd he say? What are you going to do when this fails? Yeah, he just said straight up, what are you going to do when this fails? Woo! I'm sure what she did was much nicer than what I would have did. So, okay. So these critics, they're ignorant. They don't know, and there's people who profit from it. The hospitals, the insurance companies, that kind of stuff. Obviously, they're gonna be vociferous against change. Ryan, brother, where you? Yeah, he'll be the first one to tell you the hypocrites are the loudest. These are the people who sit there and really go to town. Hating on us because you want me to switch this thing out because of that popping? You mean to take this off or turn it off or something? Oh, that's cool. All right. So, oh wow, I get the bass. Hey, baby, you look mighty nice out in that crowd. You thought you were just coming to hear about some doctors talk about nerdy stuff. So Ryan has to go up and talk to hypocrites in these debates all the time, and these are these like academic types who sit in an ivory tower and never see patients at all, and then they just wildly criticize us for not seeing enough patients. Like what? All right, so ignore the critics. I think you heard from Dr. Davenport a little bit ago. You did share the speech that. Okay, so I didn't put the good part of that speech in, but this part's good too. A cynical habit of thought and speech, a readiness to criticize work which the critic himself never tries to perform, an intellectual aloofness which will not accept contact with life's realities. All these are marks not of superiority, but of weakness. So don't listen to weak people. All right, where we at? Where's the little boy taught us so far? I'm going to just keep reading this over and over, okay? Because they say that repetition helps you learn stuff. So don't be afraid to resist the status quo. If it doesn't make sense, don't do something simply because it's always been done that way. And the first leap of faith must be followed by sacrifice. Lastly, ignore your critics. Okay, it's not really last. It's just where we are so far. All right, so next page. After the family told him it won't come up, what happens? Well, every day the little boy pulled up the weeds around the seed and sprinkled the ground with water. Okay, we're going to stop there. This is a quick one. What's he do next? Besides ignoring the critics, he goes to work. That part, you just got to do it. It's not going to do itself, and there's no end to it. So you just got to get to it. And there's really nothing else I need to say about that. So in addition to I'm going to go ahead and go to the end. Do the work. After you're done ignoring the critics, get to work. Now, this is where I think things get a little bit harder. So he starts doing the work, but nothing came up. Okay, well, he'll just wait a little longer because he's got faith. And nothing came up. Everyone kept saying it wouldn't come up. This is starting to get frustrating. But he still pulled up the weeds around it every day and sprinkled the ground with water. So this is the most important part. He did not quit. And this is where we have to buckle down and where we have to be driven. We have to expect setbacks, unexpected results, slow growth, lots of people eager to say, I told you so. Like, I would love to talk to that dude in Topeka, whoever that was, and just be like, hey, let's go take a tour of Dr. Heriter's second clinic. Woo! Man. All right. Rather than fall prey to that negativity, remember, you don't get anywhere if you're not moving. And Dr. King talked about this too. And I love this quote. He says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. I think that's very important. I was giving some advice to a direct primary care doctor online a long time ago now who was having a hard time with growth, and some type of statement was made that indicated boredom. You know, I'm just sitting around all day and I'm not seeing anybody. I don't have enough people signed up or whatever. I'm not making any money, and I'm having to work all the time on the weekends to supplement or whatever. And this is what I said. I said, if you're bored, you're doing it wrong. And I really think that's kind of sums it up. I mean, you got to buckle down. You got to work. Pound pavement, shake hands, kiss babies, do whatever, but don't just sit around, because every system is perfectly engineered to have the results that it currently has, which is why I'm fat, because I eat too many cookies, and we've gone over that. Okay, so my kids love to talk about how many cookies Dad eats, and they are right. Luke also once said that I eat Chick-fil-A sandwiches by opening my mouth and shoving the sandwich directly into my stomach. That was a quote. I think he said that when he was like 10 years old. All right, so while you're not quitting, there's a couple things on this. This is an important slide. Tony Robbins, who's maybe next door or something, he said, change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, which is a good point. And this is when it's time to remember that pain. The thing that drove you to change, now you might be kind of thinking, I don't know if I did the right thing. Maybe I didn't hurt as bad as I thought. Yeah, you did. That's why you made the change. So remember it and let that drive you. That's your fuel. And that pushes you forward. And this is when we say, I'm never going back. The only way is forward. You know, the whole Cortez burning the ships, you know. We ain't going back. There is no retreat. We only have one way. I have a friend named Bobby, and he was the manager, you know, for a football team, the South Central Louisiana State University Mud Dogs. And he would, like, take water to the players and stuff like that. And so one time he got really mad because he kept getting taunted and like teased and stuff by the football players. And so he had just, you know, tackled the heck out of this football player that was really being mean to Bobby. And so it was a pretty awesome tackle, and the coach saw it. So he actually put him on the team, you know. And he's kind of a soft-spoken guy, and he's kind of shy. And after that, he had a hard time like recreating that rage that made him at one time tackle the biggest dude on the team. And the coach told him, interesting coach. He looked a lot like Fonzie. It's weird. Anyway, so the coach was like, no, you gotta imagine that thing that made you so mad, that made you just come alive with power to take out the biggest player on the football team. And so he learned a way to do that, to visualize that, and he called that tackling fuel. And that's what we need. And that's what Jen has because of that dork she used to work with, and it's what I have, you know, from the college what do you call it? Counselor, advisor that told me I'd never get into medical school because I got a C in organic or something. I was like, well, you're not my advisor anymore. You know, and like when I was little, my grandma was like, you know what? She's so nice. And my grandma was a gifted teacher, so she's a lot smarter than me. And she was like, that's so cool that you want to be a doctor when you get old and stuff, or when you grow up. Vance, that's a job for smart people. You know, and maybe it's just a little bit of a lofty goal. Tackle and fuel. Tackle and fuel. Kissy remembers the pain. I was scared to death. I would fall. I would fail, let my family down. But that thought wasn't nearly as scary as staying employed forever. I knew it was either take this leap of faith or spend the rest of my life working until I was dead of a heart attack at 50 or became so depressed I don't even want to know what could have happened. I was in a bleak place because I felt so trapped. I was scared the hospital would find out what I was doing, but I gathered the courage I needed to move forward and not be scared. I prepared myself. I marketed to every patient at every encounter until the end. I talked to every person that would listen. She remembered the pain, and it pushed her forward. All right, let's catch back up with our little boy. He's decided to resist the status quo, not to do something just because it's always been done that way. He's prepared to sacrifice in his leap of faith. He ignores critics. He does the work, and he remembers the pain, and he doesn't quit. He continues working. All right, so let's catch up. So nothing came up. Everyone kept saying it wouldn't come up. They still watered the ground. He still pulled up the weeds around it every day and sprinkled the ground with water. See, I don't have it memorized as well as I used to. Luke, you need to start requesting this more at night again. I know you're 12, but this is good stuff. I'm reading it to a bunch of doctors, dude. All right. And then one day, a carrot came up. Now wait, seriously. Just as the little boy had known it would. Boom! He knew it would happen. He had faith, and he listened to those people. All right, so I love that. I mean, I'm telling you, every time, goosebumps. Okay, sometimes it was really late and I was tired. I didn't get goosebumps every night. But I love the story, and it's a motivational story. It's a good one. I think it's a good one for kids, although it probably teaches them, to be honest, it does teach them unrealistic expectations of carrot size. I can just imagine Luke when he's like 3 years old at the store. He's like, what's this thing? That's not a carrot. And it's orange. Where's the pink carrots at? Bigger than me. So the last lesson the little boy learned is that when you do those things, you should expect results. So let's join Kissy again. She said, I'm going back a little bit. I prepared myself, marketed every patient, every encounter until the end, talked to every person that would listen, pre-enrolled 279 patients, drank from a fire hose until I was full at 600 patients in 10 months. I blew it out of the water, and I'm damn proud of that. Right? I wish Kissy was here. I wish Kissy was here because I would like have everybody stand up and clap for her because she's a rock star. And but this wasn't the end of her email. It ended like this. 1 month ago, I bought a new Escalade. Yeah. All right. And this is not a get-rich-quick lecture, okay? I drive a 20-year-old truck, and I've been full for 3 years. So, all right, so let's go ahead one more time. Resist the status quo. Don't do something just because it's always been done that way. Sacrifice, ignore critics, work hard, don't quit, and expect results. So, to me, DPC is that carrot. It's the thing that I knew if I put myself out there that I could get. And I didn't listen to the critics and all that other stuff. So it wasn't free. It required sacrifice. You see down there the little tiny buggy by the water and the little white dot right in the middle of the picture? The little white dot's my dad, and there's a little black dot right next to him, which is my son, and they're fishing. Well, I don't own that pond anymore, so they're just going to have to fish in a muddy creek somewhere. But hey, it's just stuff. There's other places to get fish. It's the time that matters. And it's not easy. There's work, you know. If you want to keep that overhead low, put on your overalls, because it takes really good pictures for Facebook advertisements later on. And your patients love to know you're a real person, and that you wear overalls. I don't know what it is about those overalls, but I got a lot of patients because of those things. Really highlights the top of the head, this picture does. I should have used Photoshop to make it even shinier, just to make it funnier. All right. You also, the carrot is this. You get to spend time with your patients, finally. And you get to deliver babies, and look how happy they are. You know, we have these great relationships. That kind of stuff. You know, you can't put a price on that. And that's the carrot, man. That's what you're working for. You can just say, you know what, let's go see the Oregon Trail. Let's go see some cool stuff that people used to have to work really hard to see, and we can just take a weekend trip. And guess what? I don't have to put in a request for the vacation 6 stinking months ahead of time. We're just going to go. I got my cell phone. And that's Chimney Rock, which is pretty cool. Where's my Nebraska people? We got some Nebraska people around here. There's some more. Amber had to leave. You're going to see some from Amber here in a little bit. The carrot is going to a daddy-daughter dance. I stole this from Neil. He did the same thing in his first talk. But you know what? This is the kind of stuff I missed all the time when I was on the inside. And now I can do it. You know, and look at how beautiful she is. That would have sucked to miss that. But I miss stuff like this all the time when I was on the inside. And now, instead of missing all my son's games, I coach the games. That's the carrot. That's the carrot. That's right. That's right. So the carrot is direct primary care. In my opinion, the carrot is our future. And a lot of people have been up here telling you how to do it, you know, what they did and all that kind of stuff. And there's no right way. You do it what works best for you. But what I will tell you is that what works for me, and I mean, I don't want to step on too many toes, but I'm sure my friends out here will clap when they hear me say some of this. But I don't need any middlemen. My patients and me are all it takes. I don't care if we're talking about, obviously, insurance companies or the government, brokers, whatever organizations of employees. I mean, that stuff's probably doable, and you can do it in a way where there's some transparency to it and it still saves people money. But what we have done is stripped out middlemen, and it has brought my patients' prices rock bottom. It's brought me happiness. It's brought them satisfaction and access. And why do we need to make it any more complicated than that? Okay, so that's my 2 cents worth. That's what it looks like for me. You're looking at my new clinic. That picture was taken 1 week ago. It's now finished on the outside, and I've started construction on the inside. And it's going to be 6 months of hard work because I do all of it myself, or in this case, I'm bartering for a lot of it because now I have 600 patients with a lot of skills, which is good. All right, so I've got a video I want to show you guys on the carrot of direct primary care. And before I show it, I want to tell you quick. I got time, so I had a career as a student when I was in college as a DJ because I do too much, and so I got to know a lot of music, and I have a lot of music collection, and I'm like, I got to do a video, to really send all these doctors out on the mountaintop. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go woo. Well, like Chris Farley, like. Take the world by, shove it in my pocket. Woo-wee! Like that's what I wanted to do. And I'm like, so I need like crazy motivational music. So I got on my computer and I got into my MP3 hard drive, which is enormous. And I narrowed it down to like 20 songs. I'm like, that is going to be a long video. And so I got it down to 5 songs. I'm like, man, I can't decide which of these songs is the right song. And I kind of sent some things out to people asking for these stories, about what they sacrificed and that kind of stuff. And, man, the Lord works in mysterious ways because he gave me a video. He came from Amber, she's Dr. B. She's up in Omaha. And it came with the song. It wasn't even on my list. I never heard it before. And so big thanks to Amber for what you're about to see because it took my video from being good to being pretty good. I think it's pretty good. So, all right, here we go.
Well, Vance wants to know what I really think about why I left the system. And so much of it has to do with seeing my family, being with my patients, and being my own boss. When I was off this year and doing my own thing, the DPC way, my 12-year-old and I were going down the road and he was playing his YouTube videos and there was just this little snippet that caught my eye on one of his YouTubers. So I looked up the song. And now that I've heard this song this year, I have never been able to stop listening to it because it is direct